We're about to discuss why Jim Cornette hates Vince Russo and just threatened his life. To set the stage, we have to go to the 1990s WWE, where Jim Cornette was a booker and a manager. He was at the peak of his career. He and Bruce Pritchard, aka Brother Love, wrote most of WWE TV and were the right-hand men for Vince McMahon. Vince Russo, aka Vic Venom, was still a newbie in the company, and he was the writer/editor for WWE Magazine. Pritchard liked some of Russo's ideas and started to invite him to writing meetings, which Russo really enjoyed and was very creative. A lot of Russo's booking styles was modeled after things like Howard Stern's Whack Pack, Freaks, and Oddities, stuff that would shock the eye and surprise audiences. That didn't sit very well with Jim Cornette, who had a more traditional Memphis or Southern style of booking. Meanwhile, Vince Russo launched WWE Raw magazine, which he made more real and visceral than anything the WWE had ever seen. Vince McMahon loved the magazine, was tired of all the bickering, and fired Jim Cornette and replaced him with Vince Russo. Cornette and Pritchard were responsible for ideas that were a little antiquated, like T.L. Hopper, The Goon, Isaac Yankem, Aldo Montoya, and Vince was tired of that style of booking. Russo made things a lot more edgy, like this scene where Val Venus gets his pee-pee cut off. It's a different style of booking than what Cornette liked, and it really upset Cornette that he lost his job to a guy like this. He never forgave Vince Russo. While Vince Russo was writing TV, he made a lot of friends, but he also made a lot of enemies. He's kind of a braggadocious individual, and a lot of the boys started to hate Vince Russo. This only fueled the fire. Later, Russo jumped ship to WCW, got put in charge of the company, booked himself into the main event, fired Hulk Hogan, alienated a bunch of people, started a bunch of lawsuits. It was straight chaos and pissed off most of the wrestling world. He even booked David Arquette as WCW champ. Needless to say, this style of booking pissed off every wrestling purist and old-timer in the industry. Giving a championship belt to a TV actor, it was a slap in the face to many of the boys. Flash forward a couple decades, and Jim Cornette was in TNA Wrestling, in charge of creative with Dixie Carter. Dixie decided to hire Vince Russo, and there was still a lot of animosity between Cornette and Russo. Russo got in Dixie Carter's ear, said, "If you want to revive this company, hire my old friend Ed Ferreira, and he and I will write TV, and get rid of Jim Cornette." I may have oversimplified the story a little bit, but for all intents and purposes, Cornette lost a second job thanks to Vince Russo. And leave your comments and opinions below with your version of the details. Flash forward a couple more years, and now they're running rival podcasts on rival podcast networks, talking trash about each other. And it's gotten ugly. Jim Cornette challenged Vince Russo to a fight, one-on-one, no guns and no knives. But Cornette has alluded to he's going to bring a baseball bat and break Russo's knees and crack his skull. Russo's filed a restraining order against Jim Cornette to stay away from him as he is stalking him. This doesn't sit very well with traditional wrestlers, again, basically saying that this violates bro code, that Vince Russo should never file legal paperwork against Jim Cornette. So I'd love to hear your opinion on the story. Does Cornette have reason to hate Russo? Is Russo justified in his restraining order? And what do you think of the sequence of events? Leave your comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Now, this is my own version of events. I'm sure there are some things that people will argue about the details, but generally speaking, I think Cornette has reason to hate Russo, but I also think Cornette's acting a little childish when you hear some of his rants. But that's what Cornette does, and we all love to hear him rant. He's interesting. I listen to Russo, and he's also a guy who's very easy to dislike. Go ahead and leave your comments below. I'd love to hear from you.
One more thing. Make sure you hit the subscribe button.